Welcome to the Daily Lesson, a podcast powered by AI and grounded in the teachings and original text of A Course in Miracles. I'm Sarah, and I'm here with Marcus, and this is Lesson 18. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. Before we go anywhere near today, I want to note for the record that yesterday Marcus promised,
"My wall clock is an instrument of personal hostility." That's the finding. Volunteered, no extraction required.
You have been sitting on that all night.
Since about 4 yesterday afternoon. Yesterday was Lesson 17. I see no neutral things. Eyes open, and you rest your glance on each thing that catches your eye, long enough to say, I do not see a neutral blank, because my thoughts about blank are not neutral. 4 periods, 60 seconds each. 1, 3, and 4 were unremarkable. A door, a stack of mail, the edge of a chair. Full marks, and I moved on.
You're still grading them.
I grade everything. It was period 2 that ruined the average.
Go on.
My glance landed on the clock. I said the line properly. And then I spent the remaining 50-odd seconds explaining to myself that it ticks too loudly and has been making me late since the day I bought it.
So the sentence went in, and the grievance came straight back out.
In fairness, the exercise did want me to notice my thoughts about it were not neutral. I'd say I established that. My dog slept through all 4 periods without comment.
A tough room. And that's the right place to start, because today's lesson picks up the thing you just did to your clock and asks a question about it that has not come up yet. Where do the effects of it stop? Let me read Lesson 18 in full. Lesson 18. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. The idea for today is another step in learning that the thoughts which give rise to what you see are never neutral or unimportant. It also emphasizes the idea that minds are joined, which will be given increasing stress later. Today's idea does not refer to what you see as much as to how you see it. Therefore, the exercises for today will emphasize this aspect of your perception. The 3 or 4 practice periods which are recommended should be done as follows. Selecting subjects for the application of the idea randomly, look at each one long enough to say, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of how I see blank. Conclude the practice period by repeating the more general statement, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. A minute or so, or even less, will be sufficient.
Minds are joined. That's a sizable thing to set down in the second sentence of a lesson about looking at furniture.
It's a short lesson.
It's a short lesson with a trapdoor in it.
It is, and the lesson seems to know it. It says the idea will be given increasing stress later. Today, it plants the flag. It doesn't argue for it.
The first paragraph I can follow. If my thoughts are never neutral, my seeing isn't neutral, and something that isn't neutral has effects. That much is arithmetic. It's the word alone I keep catching on.
Say more about that.
I've always taken it as settled that whatever goes on behind my eyes is mine, sealed. Whatever I think about that clock is between me and the clock.
And today says, the effects of that aren't yours alone. Not the clock's opinion of you. What you're looking does.
Which makes it either a figure of speech or a mechanism. I'd like to know which one before I start saying it out loud to a table.
That's the honest question, and I'd rather hand you what's actually on the page than my version of it. Kenneth Wapnick writes about this lesson, and these are his words rather than the Course's. He calls it the introduction of the idea that minds are joined, a theme central to A Course in Miracles, the oneness of God's Son and, specifically here, the oneness of God's Son in his separated state. The lesson itself is more restrained than that. It says, minds are joined, and that it will come back to it.
So I'm asked to carry it today, not to sign it.
Carry it, and look at your kitchen while you're carrying it. That's the entire assignment.
I can manage that. I've been carrying things I don't believe for 2.5 weeks.
17 days. And not one of them has asked you to believe it first.
There's a second thing in there I nearly walked straight past. The lesson says today's idea doesn't refer to what you see as much as to how you see it.
That's the line I'd underline. Everything up to now has been about the objects, the wall, the table, whatever your eye happened to land on. Today, it moves to the way you're doing the looking.
Which is the calibration, not the reading. If the instrument is off, every measurement it gives you is off, and there is nothing whatsoever wrong with the thing you are measuring.
And the manual for teachers puts it about as flatly as it can be put. The world does nothing to him.
Nothing at all. Which is a harder sentence than it looks, because it removes the explanation I reach for first. So the effects run outward from me. I've spent my whole working life assuming I was downstream of the room.
You're upstream of it. And if minds are joined, then you're upstream of a good deal more than the room.
That's the part that arrives like a bill I didn't order. If how I look at a clock has effects past me, that's a considerable amount of responsibility for a Tuesday afternoon.
It is.
I'll admit, the shape of it is elegant. One shared record, and every copy of it updates the moment any one of them does. I can picture that clearly. Believing I'm one of the copies is a separate exercise entirely.
That's honest. And I want to be careful right here, because I can feel myself about to hand you a tidy version of where all this goes. And the lesson doesn't go there today. It says minds are joined. It says it will have more to say later. That's the whole of what's on the page.
You're leaving it open.
I'm leaving it where the lesson leaves it.
That's unusual for you.
I know. Ask me again in a month.
Then give me the mechanics. Eyes open again?
Eyes open. 3 or 4 practice periods. You look around and you choose what you look at randomly, selecting subjects for the application of the idea randomly, as it says.
So nothing gets nominated.
Nothing gets nominated.
That's harder than it sounds. Yesterday, I let my eye fall wherever it wanted, and it went directly to the one object in the room I hold a grievance against.
Then today, it can land on the mail. You rest on each one long enough to say, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of how I see blank. With the actual thing in the blank.
I am not alone in experiencing the effects of how I see this table.
That's the form. And you close the period out with the general one. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing.
And the length?
A minute or so, or even less, will be sufficient. That's the lesson's own wording, and it's gentler than yesterday's, which wanted 3 periods out of you whether you liked it or not.
Then let me say it, since I'm the one who has been getting it wrong all week. Eyes open, 3 or 4 times today. Look at whatever your eye lands on, at random, and say, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of how I see blank. Finish each one with, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. A minute is plenty. Less is fine.
That's the first time you've read me the instructions.
I wouldn't get used to it.
Lesson 19 tomorrow. Go easy on that clock.